Hello and welcome to Kramer's Corner with this little late technical update. It is the 27th of August and the reason for this delayed update is I had a very early morning meeting and thought, well, we can do it afterwards because now we will have a preview of Tesla. Sorry, not Tesla. Nvidia. It is Nvidia Day. It is Nvidia Day. They are expected to release earnings after market close tonight in US, and let's have a look at what it seems like or what it looks like on the from a technical point of view. This video is for educational purpose only. There's no recommendation or advice whatsoever intended, and the same, of course, goes for Nvidia. Nvidia last week bounced off the support here, minor support at 170.89, dipped below, formed this hammer-like pattern here, and a strong bullish candle, followed by a strong bullish candle here that took out the two bodies there, and that was not that hard actually because they were basically just dojis. So key question will be what will happen to Nvidia and how will market react to the earnings later today. RSI has been showing a uptrend exhaustion for quite some time. You can see RSI values declining, market moved higher. It is still in a positive sentiment though, and if it does close back above the upper falling trend line here, well then there's a strong indication that it will move higher and or possibly also make an all-time high, and we're not that far off anyway. If we just add a horizontal line and say, okay, where we're talking about 184.84, no 48, sorry. So that's where we are. A close above that, well, the uptrend has resumed, and RSI closed back above the falling trend line there, and the uptrend has resumed. On the weekly chart, yes, we are a little bit high here on the RSI values, but there is no divergence on the RSI, indicating we could see higher levels on Nvidia. It's actually, that's what it indicates. So as long as we stay above I would say the low there at 168.80, if you don't get a close below, then if we do, then we will have a different situation. Then we can have a larger correction. There's some support here around 165 and 161. If we're looking at the semiconductor ETF, well, it's more or less the same picture really, as you can see here, because it dominates this ETF / index so much. But we also have all moving averages rising. We have 100 breaking above the 200 a few days ago. So we have a gold cross there. We have 55 where it bounced off. And so fairly strong at the moment. So unless some really nasty stuff or news coming out of Nvidia, then we could see a market moving higher. The Nasdaq index, well, also of course will be influenced, and it seems like we are taking a breather the past couple of days, and will probably also be fairly quiet market today with waiting for Nvidia. So will it break back below 22,950 and essentially, and most importantly, 22,673. If it does that, well, then we have a complete different situation, and we have a bearish trend that close below here. Other than that, if it can push higher here, we are still in a bullish trend, but as you can see here, it's also divergence on the Nasdaq 100 pre-market, more or less unchanged. Looking at the S&P 500, will of course also be influenced by what Nvidia will announce later today after market close. If it closes above the peak there at 6,482, or always round up to nearest whole number, well, then uptrend has resumed, and that will most likely also result in RSI closing back above the falling trend line, indicating likely higher levels. Dow Jones, well, bullish trend there. There is divergence. As you can see, this peak here is much lower than this peak over here. So let me just remove this one for now. But there is divergence, but positive sentiment, and trust the trends for now. And let's add this rising trend line there. If it starts breaking back below that, well, then we could have a different situation. Moving on to the Asian market and how it fared this morning. The Hang Seng got beaten a little bit, 1.3% lower, testing the support here around 25,176. Could test the rising trend line up there possibly tomorrow. But it could also bounce off. So let's see. But it is a little bit of weakness that it couldn't keep up the pace. We are still in a bullish trend, as you can see, higher highs, higher lows, and higher highs. So next few days could be decisive. A break below the rising trend line there could indicate we will also break the support here, and a close below 24,887. Well, then we are in a bearish trend. Nikkei setting back a little bit. Divergence on the RSI, the RSI values are declining, but we are in a corrective state. This is the future, by the way. Trading around the 38.2 retracement and could also bounce there, but let's see about it. If it takes out the lows from Monday, well, then I think we could see a sell-off down to around the 41,330 area. On the European markets, excuse me, that is in session. We had this gap down here on Monday, as you can see, and that is a little bit of a worry. No, not on Monday, on Tuesday. This is today, sorry, on Tuesday. And it really needs to close this gap. We have created this gap here, so we need to close this gap. 5,444. If it does that, then I think uptrend will resume. Still positive sentiment, but it is struggling at the moment. And looking at the CFD, we can see it's bouncing from or trading around the 38.2 retracement of 5,374. So I think if it takes out the lows from today, then I think we could see a sell-off down to 5,289, which is the 61.8 retracement. DAX index has also struggled for momentum after again being rejected there on the 22nd and sliding lower back below this falling trend line. Support there 23,920. That could be key, but also the lower cloud here. So in this region around here, 23,757 and 23,920, that's really a significant support area. We can see here on the CFD, tested the 55 moving average. So it's quite weak at the moment, the DAX index. The Forex market has been fairly quiet, but of course there is some action on here on euro dollar, sliding lower, testing minor support here at 115.80. I think it will break lower, and I think we could see it sliding lower. What we can do, it is not the best uptrend there, so I'm a little bit cautious of using it, but still we have the 61.8 retracement here at 115.25, where we also have the 100 moving average coming up, so we could actually see a dip down to there. And we do have negative sentiment on the RSI indicating lower levels, so let's see how low it will be. To resume uptrend, 117.45 needs to be taken out, and I always thought 117 was key, but it got hammered down every time it peaked above, so and it couldn't really follow through. Sterling dollar, well, still above the rising trend line there, and above 134. If it breaks below the both here, and then I think we'll see 133.15, possibly down to around 132.85. To really resume uptrend, it needs to take out at least these peaks here at 135.45, so 135.50. Euro sterling rejected at the 50% of this downtrend here. Still positive sentiment though, but I think there is a risk that we could test this 86 level again, support area, key level there towards. So keep an eye on that and be cautious. It needs to take out the spike up there at 86.75 to resume uptrend. Yen pairs, not really much going on in yen pairs at the moment. Still dollar yen sideways here, 148.5, and this slightly rising trend line, so I'll say 145.75. It is fairly wide range, but we have the 200 moving average trying to push it down, whereas the other, excuse me, moving averages are rising. So giving some support. So I think we could be tucked in there for quite a while. Euro yen, also range bound, 171 to the downside, 173 to the upside, and then there's a few pips on each side. Aussie yen seems to be trading in this falling channel-like pattern. Needs to close above 96.20 to have a chance to reverse the trend and move higher. But we do have a bearish trend: lower low, lower high, lower low. So what will this be? A lower high and then a lower low. That will be the question. Sterling yen, well, hovering around above the 55 moving average here. It's still around the 200 level. That is really a key. We have a positive sentiment on the RSI, but it hasn't really been able to follow through. So there's really strong interest of keeping sterling yen no higher than 200. It has peaked above a couple of times. So there's still a risk to the downside. And I think if it takes out the lows there at 197.85, then we could see at least down to 197, possibly lower. The Aussie dollar, strong resistance here at the 61.8 retracement of this little sell off there. We have the 55 moving average. We have the cloud that also giving a hard time, and negative sentiment. So it seems like we are about to slide lower and possibly test the 64, 15, 20 support here, and I think we could see it sliding lower to 63, 65, where we have the 200 moving, giving some support. However, if I can push above this 65.10, then and close above it, then we'll see it Aussie dollar pushing higher and resume uptrend. The dollar Canada correction phase, just dancing sideways really, but positive sentiment, no divergence on the RSI, indicating higher levels on dollar Canada. And I think we will see that there is still a risk that it will correct down to the 61.8 at 138, possibly lower, but I think we will see a push higher. We have higher highs, higher low, higher high, and a higher low here possibly until proven otherwise. Sterling Canada, now it seems to be to give in and is below a minor support there, 186.20. I think we'll see it down to the 38.2 retracement at 185.55. Could dip lower, but I think that's it, given that we have positive sentiment, no divergence, and likely higher level in the horizon. Euro Swiss, well, it couldn't really push through the 94.50 resistance area, and we can see sell off, a little bit of bounce, sell off again, and I think we'll see it down to 93 fairly soon, possibly lower to the lows down here below 93, 92, 65 ish area, but 93, I think that's it's highly likely. The dollar Swiss still in this range here, or declining tops, as you can see, actually spiked out there. So we have this descending triangle-like pattern for now. Need a close outside it, and it will happen either today or tomorrow. Direction, I think it will be to the upside, but it's hard to tell. But given that the RSI is in a positive sentiment, we do have a bullish trend. Now it's just a correction phase. So if it takes out 81 and a change, well, then we will see most likely see dollar Swiss above 82. The dollar index in the broad picture, sideways trading 98.73 and 97.45 to the downside. If it pushes above this level there at 98.73, then I think we will see a push up towards 100. Below 97.45, then lower levels, and I think this low here will also be taken out. On the commodities and the metal space, we have gold that had a good day yesterday, sitting back a little bit today, but it is very close to the previous peak here at 3,410, and that is needed to be taken out and close above, preferably if we should push higher on gold towards 3,500. I think it will happen, but I need confirmation. Especially, I want RSI to close back above the 60 threshold for a positive sentiment confirmation. Still 3,311. That is key support. The first key support. On the silver, well, it's really volatile. Setting back once again, and I think it will remove this one. Setting back once again, so now we can remove this and then say, okay, where are we setting back to? Possibly 786 retracement or what? Not just yet. Maybe the 61.8 retracement or 37.76 likely to set back to that area. If it takes out again, I think we are in a bullish trend, higher high, higher low, and higher high. A little bit of setback, could we get a higher high? Platinum, a little bit boring. It tried, it had an effort, declined here on the 22nd. It got smacked back down again. So it's still, I still believe we will see it higher, but I want to close preferably above 1,400. If we do get that, then probably also get 60 threshold, close about that level, and then a bullish trend. On copper, tried to bounce higher yesterday, but smacked down again today, and it's still this range there. We are talking about 465 and 433. On the energy side, and WTI crude oil almost got up to the 38.2 retracement there at 65.21, but then it got beaten down, and they could resume downtrend if it takes out the lows here, and it's not unlikely. We actually do have a bearish engulfing here on this candle compared to this one, so it actually engulfs the previous candle body. That's a fairly negative signal. The Brent crude oil almost got up to 50%, almost up to 55 moving average, but it didn't get all the way there. That's a bit of a sign of weakness. I think it will turn around and slide lower towards the 65, possibly down to around 63, 62. European nat gas. Yeah. What can I say? Just above the 61.8 retracement, didn't get all the way up to the 786 and the upper falling trend line that I actually expected a little bit. Can still do it, but I think we will slide lower towards the previous lows here around 30 and possibly lower. The natural gas has now broken bullish out of its falling wedge-like pattern there, and I think we could see it up to around 319. At least that's the rule of thumb. It should be able to push up to that level. We can also add some Fibonacci levels, see where we can push to. 3,000, between 3,000 and 3,100 here in the 786 retracement area. That should be a given. Let's see if we can push through. And if it closes above this resistance here, well, then we are likely to push quite a bit higher. On the interest rate side, US 10-year Treasury yields it's still 435, and especially 440 up here. That are the key resistance and key support here at 420. On the European yields, little correction we have going on here in Euro 10-year. We are still in a bullish trend, but RSI declining, so maybe exhaustion a little bit, at least on the short term. The UK 10 tried again this morning to open higher, but sliding back. It seems to be really here around 475, 477. That is really key for the UK 10, that it should be observed. Japanese 10 crawling slowly higher. As we can see, it seems to be pushing higher slowly, and I think we will see it at 167, possibly 170, 71 in a few weeks time. Crypto side, yeah, Bitcoin closed below, got back below 112,000 and also traded lower, down to what, 108,670, and then it's bouncing a little bit. But we have established a downtrend with lower lows, lower high, and lower low. So can it turn around, or will it continue lower to 107, possibly 104.5, 5? Ethereum, well, strong comeback there after being knocked down to actually just a little bit below the 61.8 retracement. If it can't take out the previous peak and all-time high there at 4,996, well, then there is potential much higher. But for now, it seems to be struggling. But key support here around 4,066. All right, that's all for today. Again, I do apologize about this late update, but I were otherwise engaged. So keep an eye on Nvidia numbers tonight and for direction of the market. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.